He is such a jerk.
Yeah, but he's a jerk with tight pants and a guitar. I need to keep him away from Wendy at all costs.
Don't worry, brother. Whatever happens, I'll be right here, supporting you every step of the— Oh my gosh, a pig!
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Pining for the Falls, the podcast where all pigs weigh just 15 pounds. I'm Fire Princess Lily, and I'm joined, as always, by my friend, Dr. Sea Monster. How you doing, Doc?
I'm pretty good today. Things have been going okay, except for one thing which has been disastrous.
Oh.
But I made some really nice broccoli cheddar soup for the first time the other day, and that's a win in my corner.
Well, that's good.
I also have $360 in return item fees in my bank account.
Hey, the bank finally worked with you there.
Oh no,
No?
it got worse.
Oh, no.
Due to an error with PayPal, I got hit with 6 return item fees for $30 each.
Ooh.
Which is not an overdraft fee, even though it's functionally identical.
Right.
And that I called them, and that was supposed to be resolved, but I got hit with 6 more today.
Wow.
So I'm now an additional $360 in the hole.
I see. I misunderstood. Dang.
I am in a living hell of capitalism.
Sounds like it. Well, I am certainly sorry to hear that.
Like I actually just got off the phone with someone from the bank, and they're trying to work with me on it. I have had to get an email from PayPal and then redirect it to the bank, and all kinds of stuff. It is an ongoing ordeal.
Yike. I'm so sorry.
It's I'm okay being broke. I have a place to stay that doesn't cost money because I'm taking care of my grandmother, and I have she will buy me groceries and stuff. So I'm not destitute. But I am in the red.
No good. No good.
No, it's really not. How about you? How have you been?
I've been good. You know, just working, doing the old 10 in the evening till 6 in the morning shift. Fun times.
My job was supposed to be ramping it back up sometime soon, but still, that's only like $100 a week.
What else? Wrestling's been real good. I mean,
yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, good in that it's still fun and wrestling. Not so good as in I don't feel like anything super important's happening right now. Like everything's just kind of gearing up for Fyter Fest next month, which I mean, so I guess some important things are going on. It's just I don't necessarily feel them like. I like the Best Friends. They're one of my favorite tag teams. I really like them. I like Orange Cassidy, who comes out with them. They are being given a title shot next month at Fyter Fest because they're the number 1 contenders. But they're really only the number 1 contenders because AEW did a whole month of TV where they filmed they filmed a whole month of TV in 2 days because of the coronavirus, so that everybody could go home and whatever. And so everybody who was around got featured a whole lot in that month. I mean, because you have to work with who you got. They only had less than a third of their roster, and so while the Best Friends did a bunch of cool stuff, and they won a lot of matches in that month, I don't necessarily think that month of TV should really be considered for rankings and such, because to me it just says anybody who was around. If Private Party had been around instead of the Best Friends, they would be getting this push right now. Or if the Young Bucks had been around, or if even Dark Order had been around, whoever had been around at the time for the tapings, they would be they'd be doing real good right now, and they'd be getting this title shot next month. So I sort of like the way I feel like Hikaru Shida shouldn't have taken the title from Nyla at Double or Nothing. It's like anybody who had been in her position would have gotten like the same amount of wins or whatever because she was around. And so I just don't think that makes a whole lot of sense. But it is what it is. And so I don't know that the Best Friends are going to win the tag team championships. I mean, it almost makes sense because Hangman, Adam Page, and Kenny Omega have had the titles since before Revolution, which was like 2 pay-per-views ago. So we'll see. It just feels I feel cheap. It feels cheap. If that makes sense.
Get it. It's not that it's bad, but it's kind of showing the cracks.
Yeah, a little bit. It's just like it just feels like anybody could have, stuck around and gotten this title shot and this push. But like I said, it's not like I don't like Best Friends. I do. I like them a whole lot. They're one of my favorites. It's just like, yeah. Oh well. What else? Oh, at Double or Nothing, they revealed that a new person had been signed, Brian Cage. He's just like a big monster dude, so that's kind of cool. I wish they would sign more women. Like, if I had one gripe about AEW, it's just that the women's division is there. Like, it's just there, and they're not doing a whole lot with it. They don't have they don't have an impressive women's roster. I mean, it's impressive in like the talent that they do have, not impressive in the size of it. It's like it's pretty small and contained, and 2 of the women in the division don't even wrestle at all. They're like managers, so that's weird because they're both wrestlers. So they don't do like anything, and it's just like so they keep whenever they have to have like like matches like. Different matches that other than like we've seen this person a lot, they'll call in outside talent, and the outside talent's really good, so I don't know why they don't sign some of that outside talent to like just to bolster the ranks, even if you're just gonna have them job out every time they wrestle. Give us something, give us anything, like other than just like this is our core women, and we aren't signing anymore for whatever reason. Even though, like, 2 of them are stuck in Japan right now, and 1 of them is stuck in England, seems like just more women wrestlers, please. That's my only gripe. Oh, Dark Side of the Ring finished, and all I can say is that Vince McMahon is a total dickbag, and he probably cost Owen Hart his life. So fuck that guy. Again.
Like, Owen Hart directly, definitely, but like policies that he keeps in place has shortened more than a few lives, I'm sure.
Oh, absolutely, but Owen Hart definitely directly, because that was the final episode. Did we talk about this?
Oh, but like even I know about the Montreal Screwjob.
No. You're thinking of Bret Hart.
Oh, right.
Owen Hart. Bret Hart's still alive. Owen Hart.
Yeah.
Is the brother, the younger brother, or was the younger brother of Bret Hart. He was like
it was a ladder match.
No, he died doing a weird stunt that he wasn't comfortable with, where he was going to be dropped in on a wire from the top of an arena in Kansas City, Missouri, like the very top of it. And he wasn't really good with heights anyway, but he's like, he was a Hart. Hart's like, if you're in the wrestling business, that you do what they ask you, you do what you can for wrestling. And instead of using like a real safe, harness like they had done previously, they wanted to save 30 seconds of time, and they used a quick release harness. Like they used a tiny little quick release safety hook. And I know those hooks are like, even though they might look small, they're meant to like hold like big weight. It's just like it didn't work. And the people who rigged them up, they weren't even professional riggers. They're just like people that WWE or at WWF at the time, had hired on the cheap. And so Owen Hart fell to his death from like 100 feet up. Just into the ring. And apparently his last words were, "Look out, I'm falling." So he just wanted to like get anybody out of the way because he knew this was it. Like, so, you know, it's fucked. It's still fucked because nobody's gonna get punished, or, you know, nothing's gonna happen to make Owen's death better, ever. Anything? You have anything else going on, or do you want to start talking about Gravity Falls? Because I'm out.
I say, getting back into Magic a little bit.
Nice.
I haven't had like the motivation for it. But, like, I'm kind of building that back up. You know, working on decks and stuff. Just to keep it's good to keep myself busy.
Very good.
Let's see. I caught up on last week's Harley Quinn, but not this week's.
Ah, well, stuff happened.
And I said I wouldn't gloat, but I am going to be very smug and self-satisfied, which, according to a cursory Google search, is the definition of gloating.
You're going to be smug that Harley admitted to Ivy, but Ivy won't return it back? You going to be smug about that? All right.
I was kidding. I mean, I like that they're doing it. It's being like dramatic, but I don't necessarily like the direction it seems to be going. Which I think is fair analysis.
Yeah, that's fair.
Let's see. Not a lot else going on for me. Again, the high point of my life recently was the broccoli cheese soup.
Well, then we can now talk about Gravity Falls, a piece of media that has been ruined by its creator coming out as a massive turf.
What? That's harsh.
Nope, he's good. Seriously? He's a good guy. Has not been a turf.
Well, thanks for the heart attack, Lilith.
I said that hasn't been ruined by their creator coming out as a giant turf.
Oh, okay.
Goodness.
Well, you never know who's going to turn out to be shitty.
Yeah, that's true.
For next week's for like the next episode after this one, there's an artist who worked on that episode. I'm really looking forward to talking about because I really enjoy their work. And I had to, do a Google search and look up their Twitter to make sure they weren't a shitbag, and turns out they weren't. So I'm very happy. But like, you never know who's going to turn out to be shitty. And people are just like being low key about that kind of thing. They're also really good about showing their asses as soon as an opportunity pops up.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so here we go. This week is episode 9, The Time Traveler's Pig, which is I keep saying that every episode is one of my favorite episodes. They're just good episodes.
They really are.
Anyway, here we go. We open on a carnival of some kind being built at the Mystery Shack. And Grandma says, like, there she is, Mabel. The cheapest I could buy, and spared every expense. And so we get Dipper crashing in from the Skytram. It's pretty good. Dipper's like, I think the Skytram's broken, and most of my bones. And Grandma's like, alright, it's fine. He's like, anyway, I printed up a bunch of fake inspection stickers. Could you go put them on all the rides and stuff? And Girl says, like, Gurgle Sand's like, well, Mabel asks, hey, isn't that illegal? And Gurgle Sand replies with probably one of his best known lines from the series. Anything's legal so long as cops aren't around. It's like, it's real good. I like it a whole lot.
Oh, Stan, he's great.
Stan's good. Stan leaves the twins to go check on the dunk tank, which Zeus is welding because Uncle Stan's going to sit in the dunk tank to make money, but he has just rigged it up, so it does not work right. And so Uncle Stan's like, this is perfect. I'm not going to get dunked in at all. This is going to be real good. And Zeus is like, yeah, this totally should work so long as you don't have somebody doesn't have like a futuristic arm cannon or something, which there's foreshadowing and then there's just like laying things out. Grunkle Stan asks if Zeus has seen his red screwdriver, and because it went missing, and Zeus says maybe some magical paranormal creature ticket, and Grunkle says like, you've just been hanging around too much with Dipper and Mabel. But we do get our first look, well, our first official look at Blendin Blandin, who is often seen in the background of Gravity Falls fixing things because of this episode, but he does have Grunkle Stan's red screwdriver.
Facts.
He's working on his watch, which seems to be broken, and that's his time travel device. We'll find out that's what it is. It like shifts the way he looks. It's pretty interesting. Cut to the opening. Opening's done, and the fair carnival thing is operational. And we open with Stan saying it's now 12 o'clock. The dunk tank is now open. And then a lot of feedback. He's like, step right up, folks. Try to dunk me. I'm talking to you, cutoffs. And then he's like, he's insulting a whole bunch of people because he wants them to spend money trying to dunk him. Makes sense. And everybody throws all kinds of balls. Most of them just flat out miss the target. It's like, come on, y'all. I guess not everybody can be, great at throwing a baseball, but some of them are just way off. I don't think Stan really needed to worry too much about getting dunked in the first place. But we cut to Dipper and Mabel. I'm sorry. We cut to Dipper and Wendy. Jeez. And they're getting some kind of meat on a stick that's shaped like a question mark.
I think it's a corn dog.
It has to, has to be a corn dog, right?
I mean, it could be. I mean, like,
maybe it's pretzels.
I think that's my other guess. I thought it was a pretzel, but it could also be a corn dog.
I just want to say that the ones hanging in the background of this frame look bad. It looks bad. Like the ones on the stick, they're weird, but the ones hanging in the background look like some kind of sex toy, and it's not a good look. Anyway, Tipper's like, how do we get them in this unnatural shape? And Winnie says, I don't know, but they're also delicious, and she holds the question mark corn dog pretzel thing over her head like she's asking a question, which is pretty cute. I enjoy it. But Wendy gets some mustard dripped onto her shirt, and she's like, oh, that sucks. I'll be right back. And she was like, I'll be right here. I'll be waiting. He's like, I love you. He whispers real bad. Mabel shows up with cotton candy, and she's like, oh, look at you going. Yeah, getting your romance on. And they're like, oh, come on. It's not like a big deal. And Mabel's like, yeah, sure. And he's like, okay, you're right. It's amazing. It's awesome. It's great. I just said, do you want to hang out at the fair? And she said, yes. It's crazy. Well, you actually get a scene where she actually shrugs her shoulders and says, I guess so. So, like, Dipper's real excited for this. She said, yeah, I guess so. It totally worked. He's like, man, I don't normally say these kind of things, but your advice of just going for it is really just paying off. And it was like, come on, I'm always right about everything. And she's like, do you smell a gallon of body spray? To which we see Robbie show up. And once again, Robbie's just being a jerk. He takes Mabel's cotton candy. And he's like, "You guys seen Wendy around? I've got some super tight jeans that I really want to like impress her with." And which is weird. It's just weird. Yeah, those question mark things have to be corn dogs because in this scene there's the tunnel of love and corn dogs. So this has to be like some kind of corn dog fair, right?
Okay, there's only like 3 things that they could. Oh. Right.
What?
Oh. Oh.
Hello?
Well, there's only like 3 things that could be, right?
Right. Corn dogs, pretzels, and...
It could be like sausage on a stick.
I mean, yeah, true. That's a good point.
That's barely different from a corn dog.
It is very good for the corn dog. But anyway, Robbie says, "Where's Wendy? You know, I just want to hang out with Wendy." And Dipper's like, "You know, I think I saw her hanging around the bottomless pit. Maybe you should just go jump in there." Like, it's pretty good. And Robbie responds with, "Well, maybe I will, smart guy." Which, honestly, show might have been approved just a little bit. But he runs into Dipper, and Mabel's like, "Man, that guy is a jerk." And Dipper's like, "Yeah, but he's a jerk with tight pants and a guitar." I need to keep him away from Wendy at all costs. To which Mabel says, "Don't worry, I'm going to be right here with you every step of the..." Oh my gosh, a pig. Like, she is just like... Oh, and we cut to a sign that says, "Win a pig." And she runs away, which is kind of Mabel all over. She often promises to help Dipper out with things, only to be distracted by something. And this time it's a pig. But she gets to the booth, she spots a pig she likes, and the pig oinks, and she's like, "Oh my god. That pig just said my name. That pig just said Mabel. Did you say Mabel?" To which the pig responds with another oinking that kind of sounds like Mabel. Pacifica Northwest walks by and she's like, "Oh look, Mabel found her real twin." Haha. Talking about, you know, the pig and Mabel being whatever. It's a bad insult. Also, these outfits that her cronies are wearing, not good. Not good. This is bad. What are you doing, Alex? Anyway.
We never really see those goons. We never really see her goons too often.
Yeah, but when we do, oof. Oof.
Okay, I don't really recall what they were wearing. What were they wearing?
So one of them has like a weird pixie bob cut. She's wearing like a blue dress with like this like salmon earrings and salmon belts and black tights. And the other one is like wearing a blue headband and like a mini skirt that's in like the opposite colors of the other ones. Like it's this one's salmon with like a blue line, like a teal line, and white boots. It's just real. It's not a good look. It's bad.
Kind of random.
Yeah, it's kind of random. Anyway, Mabel's like, "Okay, I have to have that pig guy." And he's like, "Old 15-poundy."
Oh, 15-poundy. Guess his weight and he's yours.
Yeah, guess his weight is yours. How much you guessing? And she's like, 15 pounds? He's like, "Are you some kind of witch?" Yep, here's your pig. And Mabel is automatically smitten because she's like a mom now. The guy tries to hand her a fork and knife because, you know, you gotta eat pigs. But she just gives him this like hard stare, like, and he's like, "Oh, okay, I guess not. Whatever." And Mabel's like, "Everything's different now." So we cut back to Dipper and Wendy, and they're checking out a booth where you throw, you know, bottles. You throw balls to knock over bottles. Anybody who's been to a carnival has seen this game. It's rigged. Don't play it.
Are there carnival games that aren't rigged?
The balloon, when you pop balloons with like darts, pretty much not rigged. That's basically all you. I don't know if they do something with the darts, but I mean, I have won at that game more than any other game. So I'm terrible at carnival games, so I just have to assume that one, and I'm terrible at darts, so I just have to assume that one is not rigged too much, if that makes sense.
All right, you heard it here, listeners. Play the dart and balloon game.
Yeah, I mean, go for it.
Hawk and Lily approved.
But the reason they go there is because Mabel's like, no. Wendy's like, I have to have one of these prizes. It was like a bear, duck, platypus thing. It's real weird. But I get the appeal. She's like, I don't know if it's a duck or a panda, but I want one. Dipper says, my uncle taught me the secret to these games. You aim for the carny's head and you take the prize when he's unconscious. Which is really good. And definitely sounds like something Stan would say.
It does.
But,
Good one.
Dipper hands over a ticket. Says, 1 ball. Please. And the guy running the stand's like, alright, well, you only get 1 chance. Wendy's like, you can do it. She gives him thumbs up, and he's like, all right, here we go. 1 and a 2, and he throws it. It bounces off the thing with the bottles on top of it and hits Wendy right in the eye. And they're like, oh my gosh, are you okay? And she's like, does it look swollen? And it's like swollen. And he's like, don't worry, everything's gonna be fine. I'll go get some ice. And he runs off to get ice. And he comes back. And who's got her? Who's helping her? Well, first he runs into Blendin Blandin. He like runs right into him and knocks him over. But as he's gathering up his ice, what happens? Robbie shows up and he's got a snow cone right on her face, which is kind of gross, honestly. But when he's like, oh, thanks.
Unsanitary.
It's very unsanitary. It's not good. Don't like it. You'd get all that syrup in your eye, and then that'd be bad. Anyway, it's terrible. But Wendy's like, oh, Robbie, thanks. This is really sweet. It's like the gesture, add the flavored syrup. Like, and I was like, yeah, I guess I was just in the right place at the right time. And he's like, I've been meaning to ask you. We've been spending a lot of time together. I was wondering if maybe you wanted to go out with me? And Wendy says, yeah, I guess so. And I was like, oh yeah, sweet. And Dipper is absolutely crushed, of course. This is when Mabel walks up and she's like, Dipper, I want a pet pig. His name is Waddles. Waddles is great. Waddles can do no wrong. She's like, I called him Waddles because he waddles. And she shakes him. And Dipper's like, everything is definitely different now. And Mabel's like, what are you looking at? And we get a scene of Robbie and Wendy going to the Tunnel of Love and Corn Dogs, which Mabel's like, oh. Well, the fair's coming to an end. The lights are coming on. Well, not coming to an end. It's just nighttime. Dipper is just laying around. He's sad. And the free pizza guy is very sad that Dipper won't get off the sloppy toss.
Which is an unpleasant name.
It is an unpleasant name. Mabel shows up with Waddles in a little doctor costume. And she's like, paging Dr. Waddles, we got a boy here with a broken heart. And she's like, oh, come on, man. These are the jokes. Because Dipper doesn't, laugh. He doesn't respond. And Dipper's like, Mabel, do you just wish you could go back and undo just one mistake? And Mabel's like, nope. I do everything right all the time.
Mabel has a lot of confidence.
Mabel has a lot of confidence. A lot of unearned confidence, in my opinion. But, yeah. Dipper looks especially perturbed when she says that. And he's like, I mean, Wendy only went out with Robbie because he was there with the ice. If only she had needed ice. If only she hadn't needed ice for the baseball, this wouldn't have happened. This is, totally on the one baseball thing that I did. And if only I could, stop the baseball. And Dipper suddenly points out somebody's like, that guy! And of course it's Blendin. He's like, hey, you, tool belt, you ruined my life. And he's like, you've seen me before. He's like, what are you doing? Following me around? Why are you bald? What's all that about? Like, the twins are really, like, grilling Blendin pretty bad here.
Yeah.
And Blendin's like, my position's been compromised. Assuming stealth mode, color match. He starts messing with his watch. Which I erroneously said was his time device. That's my bad. That's not his time device at all. But his watch isn't working. It's not giving him the color match or like keeping him stealth. And the twins are just like staring at him like, what the and Mabel's like, that's amazing. Are you from the future or something? And Blenda's like, who told you? Memory wipe. And he throws the thing in Mabel's face, to which she peels it off. She's like, this is a baby wipe. He's like, all right, you got me cornered. I'm a time traveler. And Dipper's like, wait a minute, so you're from the future? Do you, like, have a time machine or something? It's like, and Blenda's like, yeah, that's kind of how it works, dummy. To which we see Wendy and Robbie just going by on the Ferris wheel. Very poignant. And Dipper's like, could I borrow it? He's like, come on, just let me use your time machine just once. And Blandin's like, no, absolutely out of the question. It's sensitive, extremely complicated time equipment. Which he pulls out a tape measure, and that is his time machine. Which, there you go. I messed up in the opening, but it's okay. It's all fixed now. But Dipper's like, it looks like a tape measure, and Blandin's like, you shut your mouth. And he looks to Mabel. He's like, does this feel like it's like real at all? And Mabel's like, I think he's just crazy. And she's like, oh, Blandin's like, oh, you don't believe me, huh? To which he pulls the tape measure, or the time measure, whatever it's called, and disappears from view, comes back, and he's dressed completely differently. He looks kind of like Henry VIII, to be honest. That's the period of clothing. But the twins are...
They're amazed, and he promptly says, there was a costume shop here 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Pretty good gag.
Pretty good gag. He returns the costume, but he comes back and he's on fire. So they're like, who are you? And he's like, I'm Blendin Blandin, time anomaly removal crew of 20/12. Which is pretty good. He's like, it's my mission to stop time anomalies, and there's supposed to be a whole bunch of them that are supposed to happen right here, but I don't see any anomalies. I don't know if this is some kind of paradox or if I'm just really tired. It's like, he's very stressed. And Dipper's like, you know what? You sound like you could use a break. And I was like, definitely. Might we recommend one of the various attractions at the Mystery Fair? And he's like, you know what? What the heck? I'm worth it. And he takes a ticket, a couple of tickets, and he like walks away. He's like, but I got my eye on you. Don't try anything weird. To which he goes over to like a barrel ride, and Zeus is like, hey man, you're gonna have to take that belt off for the ride. One of your tools might come flying off and accidentally fix something. Which he hands Zeus over the belt, and he's like, guard it with your life. And Zeus says, I'll watch like a hawk, dude.
Zeus.
This is great. So Zeus just kind of sets it down all haphazardly, not watching it like a hawk, even though he says like a hawk as Dipper or Mabel, one of the two, comes and steals it. But they're looking at it, and he's like, oh, okay, here it is. Here it is, Mabel. My one chance to fix anything in the past. And Mabel's like, yeah, let's go get 2 dodos and force them to make out. And Dipper's like, no, we got to be smart about this. That's all that paradox has me kind of freaked out. All I'm going to do is go back and fix my one mistake. That's it. Nothing else. If I don't miss that baseball throw, it won't hit Wendy in the eye, and Robbie won't talk to her, and they won't start going out. And Mabel's like, I'm coming too. I want to relive my greatest moment of my life, winning waddles. And she kisses the pig, which is pretty good. And so The twins go back. To which, it's a really good gag of Dipper looking at the pig and saying, "See you later," and Mabel saying, we're gonna see you earlier." Yuck, yuck. And they go back in time, doing a mystery twins high five. Everything pauses. Well, slows down to a pause. And then it all reverses real fast.
Pretty good time travel effect.
It's a pretty good time travel effect. I didn't need to watch Zeus uneat a sandwich, though, if I'm going to be honest.
It was a little weird, but like it's not as gross as it could have been.
Yeah. They do go back 6 hours into the past. But what's kind of weird, or wait, I might be remembering wrong. Anyway, but yeah, it's right at the start of the fair. Stan's already insulting people to get them to throw a dunk. Mabel just goes over and grabs Waddles and screams 15 pounds at the pig guy. And then she walks back and says, "And yes, I am a witch." To which he lights a torch. He's like, "Oh, time to, get going." Yeah, what's really weird is neither of the twins are here at the same time as themselves. Which seems odd to me.
This is not a hard sci-fi time travel story. It does not seem to have consistent rules like within itself.
That's true. That is very true. But
it's like, how would if they're just traveling into their previous selves, how does Blendin Blandin get back there? And this other time travel stuff that happens. It's a harder you think about it, the worse it gets.
Yeah, absolutely. But Dipper catches up with Wendy, and they're going to the booth to get the bear, panda, whatever. And Dipper hands over the ticket and says, "1 ball, please." And of course, the carnival guy says, "You only get 1 chance." And he's like, "That's what you think." And he's like, "1 panda duck coming right up." "Okay, Dipper, second chance. Don't mess this up." And he knocks over the things. He knocks over the bottles, and the ball goes sailing through, only to hit the wood in the back, to bounce back and hit Wendy in the eye. It's like, "Oh, does it look swollen?" And Dipper's like, "That is so weird." To which Robbie shows up immediately this time, rather than, I don't know how fast Dipper runs. Not this fast. So however long it took him to get the ice before, it took Robbie a lot longer last time to get here with the snow cone. But this time, he's just right there. I don't know if that's a butterfly effect or if it's just, for the gag. Probably just for the gag.
It implies there's a butterfly effect thing going on with this. Because, none of this, all of a sudden, every time they time travel, it plays out a little bit differently.
Yeah.
I think it probably is just for the gag, but it seems to imply more of a butterfly effect type thing.
But Robbie once again asks Wendy out. Wendy says, "Yeah, I guess." Which causes Dipper, of course, to man, the exact same thing happened twice. That's spooky. And he was like, "Maybe it's a time curse." "What else can you say, time curse?" And he just oinks. And Mabel loves him, which is the best.
Yeah.
And Dipper's like, "Is it possible that the force of the time naturally conspired to just stop me at every juncture?" He's like, "No, that can't be it. Let's go back and do this again." And so they time travel, to which we get a good scene of people in the background with torches and pitchforks saying, "Let's burn the witch," because of course Mabel has outed herself as a witch. Dipper once again goes back. He tries switching up to a different hand to throw the ball, knocks it over, and right back into the eye. To which Robbie shows right up, and it's like, "Are you okay?" We get a good montage of them doing this, of this time traveling, trying different things, and every time he does something, it goes right into Wendy's eye, and Robbie shows up. But there's lots of cute Mabel and Waddle stuff, of course. we get one thing where Dipper's like, Wendy, how badly do you want this stuffed animal thing? To which Wendy says, more than anything in the world, Dipper. He's like, oh, okay. He throws the ball. He misses. It bounces back, and it hits a bag of balls, which all just careen right into Wendy. And to which Robbie picks her right up. He shows up out of nowhere just to, like, give Dipper, like, a scowl and a head shake. It's just like, what in the world is going on? Why was he right there? Mabel, of course, loves her pig. We now cut to Dipper doing advanced calculus on a popcorn wagon to try to figure out how to, like, stop this from happening. It's like, if I just adjust for wind speed, factor in cotton candy. And Mabel's like, just face it. You're obviously fated to have a bad day at the fair. Just like I'm fated to be with Waddles. And she's knitted herself a pig sweater. Which kind of answers the question, where does Mabel get all these weird sweaters? She makes them. That's it. Boom. And he's just like...
It just makes a lot of sense for the character.
It does make a lot of sense for the character. Dipper's like, there just has to be that one thing that I'm missing that would make this work. And Mabel pops up right behind the glass. And he's like, oh my god, that's it. I've just figured out how to win the toss, get Wendy, and stop Wendy and Robbie from going out. This is going to be great. And Mabel's like, awesome, I'm going to go win my pig again. And Dipper's like, no, you can't leave. I need you for my plan. And she's like, but what about Waddles? He's like, it'll take a few minutes. Let's just go. And so we cut back to Dipper and Wendy in front of the booth. Dipper is checking the wind. He's looking around before he throws. And Wendy's like, come on, are you going to go or whatever? He's like, yep, just hold on. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. And he throws way high over the tent, which leads to a Rube Goldberg effect, basically, of him more or less knocking over the bottles, knocking the snow cone out of Robbie's hand and free pizza out of the free pizza guy's hand to knock over the bottles and not hit Wendy with a baseball. He makes a really neat, impressive trick by catching the falling ball in his hand, like, aha, I planned the whole thing, which he did, so, props. Robbie shows up, and Wendy's like, hey, Robbie, did you see this cool prize that Dipper won for me? Just as he's trying to ask her out. Dipper looks smug as heck, and Robbie's like, whatever, I can't even tell what species it is. It's stupid. And he, like, walks away with his hoodie over his head. And Wendy's like, what's his deal? Sheesh. She's like, look like I came to the fair with the right guy. We get a good gag of somebody hitting one of those hammer bell things and announcing that they have a winner as she says that to Dipper. So that's really good. Dipper gives Mabel a thumbs up that, he won. And then she's going to go get her pig. But just as she turns around to go get that pig, who's got the pig? Pacifica has the pig. She won the pig while Mabel was helping Dipper out with his plan. Ow. And right away, Pacifica is mistreating Waddles. Because, of course. We do cut to Wendy and Dipper in the tunnel of corn dog and love coming around, and Wendy's like, well, that was even more awesome the third time around, which, what the heck? But Wendy gets distracted by funnel cake. She runs away, and Mabel runs up to Dipper just screaming because he's like, what's wrong? But he can't get it out because she keeps screaming every time he tries to ask. And he finally asks, what's wrong? And she's like, I messed up our timeline. Pacifica saw the fire 1 while before I did. She took Waddles, Dipper, and Dipper's like, oh, Mabel, I'm so sorry. She's like, it's okay, we can just go back and do things differently. And Dipper's like, Mabel, wait, look, I did the math. In any other timeline, Wendy ends up going out with Robbie. I can't mess this day up again. And Mabel's like, but if we don't go, then I'll lose Wallace forever. And so the twins fight over the time thingy. And it gets caught in one of the corn dog floats ride things, pulls the tape real long, snaps back, and they go way back in time. Like before Gravity Falls even existence. And Dipper says, when are we? And Mabel says, the real question is, when are we? It's like, oh, wait, you already... And he's like, yeah, I did. It's like, because I was going to, okay, yeah, same thing. It's pretty good. But they almost get ran over by a herd of buffalo. Like, just normal buffalo. Which is pretty cool. Like, I wonder when the weirdness started happening in Gravity Falls. But no idea, no. No way to know. But they run off a cliff and they land in some old settler wagons. And we cut to a guy on a horse saying, be on the lookout for mountain lions, travelers. And somebody else saying, dysentery. Who wants dysentery? Because we're on the Oregon Trail, of course. Forge ahead, mighty oxen, for a new life awaits us on this Oregon Trail. Mabel's like, where are we? The 70s?
Yeah.
This is really good. And Dipper's like, no, you dummy. You sent us back 150 years. It's pioneer times. And one of these settlers says, by Trimbley, which is a reference to, Quentin Trimbley.
This is a really good callback.
It's a really good callback. And it says, by Trimbley, Fertilla, it seems you've given birth to 2 more children. Which is a terrible name. It's an awful name.
It's one of the worst possible names you could probably give your.
But we cut to this pregnant woman who's just in the back, who's like, oh man, it appears I did. Cool, more hands to help render the tallow. And Mabel's like, tallow? What? And one of the kids says, her mouth is filled with silver, pointing to Mabel's braces. And she's like, these are called braces. And Mabel's like, hey, stop it. And Dipper's like, hey, Mabel, stop. We can't start messing with the past. And Mabel's like, oh yeah, says the guy who messed with the past all day and cost me my pig. Which, she has a point. And she's like, I'll mess with whatever I want. And she hands over a calculator to one of these children. She's like, a magic button pressing machine. And it's like, check out my shoes that blink. And they're like, oh my god, everybody's just entranced. And she runs over to the pregnant one. She's like, hey, sister, guess who gets to vote in the future? Starts it. Ladies, up top. She high-fives this woman. She's like, that's called a high five. Teach it to your friends. She like really does her best to mess with these characters, which Dipper grabs the...
Bill said fuck causality.
Yeah, she did say fuck causality. But Dipper grabs the time tape, hits the string, they disappear, and they appear right in front of a T-Rex, which is pretty good, to which Mabel undoes everything, only to get flung into the far future where Time Baby, which we don't know that's Time Baby yet, is just destroying everything. He's throwing one of his time tantrums.
Oh yeah.
Mabel's like, this future seems neat. Dipper presses some more buttons. They get thrown back to the episode with about the Gobblewalker. We go back to the episode about the wax figures and the gnomes. Like, it's just a montage of going back to things. To which Mabel's like, oh man, this time tape is getting way hotter, and it is crackling with energy. And it eventually just, I guess, explodes, and we get a...
They're in, like, it looks like the Mystery Shack. It's in winter, and there's some guy, some guy picks his head out. Yeah. I don't know what that's about.
We believe it's
Not
Grunkle's
sure what that's
stand.
supposed to, not sure what that's supposed to be. Probably unimportant.
Probably unimportant. But we cut to a screen with just Dipper and Mabel's eyeballs being the only thing visible. And Mabel's like, "Where are we?" It's nothing but inky blackness for whiles. And Dipper's like, "Don't you see? We've transported to the end of time." And they both take turns screaming, which is pretty good.
Weird scene of Mabel scream episode.
Yeah. Mabel's like, "Wait, why does it smell so bad in here?" And they start kicking around, and it turns out they were just in a porta potty. And Mabel's like, "Look, we're back in the present." And Dipper's like, "Yeah, but which present?" And we get Wendy holding her panda duck, Robbie being sullen, and of course, Waddles being abused by Pacifica, which both twins are like, "This is what we want." Or, well, Dipper's like, "This is what I want." Mabel's like, "This is not what I want." And they're fighting over the time tape. And Dipper's like, "Look, Mabel, it's over, okay? Give it up. I've worked too hard for this. And you know what? It's not even a big deal." And Mabel's like, "But Waddles, he was my soulmate." And Dipper's like, "You said that about a ball of yarn once. Do you really want Wendy to date Robbie?" Like, I don't think Mabel cares that much, to be honest. But she says, "I don't know." She gets real sad. She looks at a picture of her and Waddles, and she just walks over to the totem pole and puts her head against it. To which Dipper says, "You're not going to guilt trip me, Mabel. Not this time." But she just starts banging her head against the totem pole, like, lightly. And Dipper's like, "Come on, Mabel. I know you. You're going to forget about this in a day." And he's like, "Here, I'll prove it." And he goes forward one day, only to cut to Mabel still doing the thing. The fair's being torn down, but she's still banging her head. He's like, "Okay, maybe you'll forget in a week." And he goes forward 1 week, still banging her head. And he's like, "Fine, a month. She'll be better in a month." But here she is. Vines have grown up around her, and she's just moaning about Waddles and banging her head against the totem pole. We get Zeus coming up to her with some tourists like, "Here's a girl who went bonkers after her dreams were shattered by some heartless jerk," which kind of really drives the point home for Dipper. It's like, because... So Dipper goes back to before he got Mabel involved with the whole throwing the bottle, with this whole scheme. And he walks up to the booth with Wendy. He's like, "Hey, Wendy, I just want to say that, well, people make mistakes. And when they do, you should forgive them. Also, that tight pants are overrated." And Wendy's like, You've lost me." And Dipper's like, "I know." It's like, "1 ball, please." And the Carney's like, "Yeah, you get 1 chance." And so Dipper throws the ball just like he did before. It bounces back, hits Wendy in the face. Robbie comes up, of course, with a snow cone and asks her to go out. And Dipper's like, "It's done." But Mabel comes through with Waddles, and she's like, "Oh, thank you, you did it. You fixed this for me. I got Waddles," and Waddles rolls over. He's real cute. Pacifica walks by getting pecked in the head by a chicken, and Dipper's like, "Look, I couldn't break your heart, Mabel. Besides, there's no way that Wendy can date Robbie all summer, right?" Blendin comes up and he grabs the time tape and he's like, "Oh my god, I can't believe you two. You messed up so much time. Do you have any idea how many rules you just broke? I'm just asking. I wasn't there with you, but it was probably a lot, right?" And that's when the time police show up. And they're like, it's really...
Wolf and Dungren.
Yep. And they're like, "Blendin Blandin, you've just been fucking up. Our time phones have been ringing off the hook. There are settlers high-fiving in the 1800s, calculators littered around 8 centuries. You're under arrest for violations of the Time Traveler's Code of Conduct." And he's like, Blinden's like, but it wasn't me. It was those kids and their leader, Waddles. They're like, that's a pig, Blendin. He's like, I'm going to get you for this. I'm going to go back in time and make sure your parents never meet. Well, we're still here, so I guess he forgot to go back. It's Dipper's reasoning. But we cut to Stan, once again harassing the crowd. He's like, look at me. I'm dry. Y'all are broke. This is perfect. Nobody's ever going to put me in this tank. And he laughs like, yeah, boo, I love it. It's really good. And so he points at one of the time police and he's like, hey, you, haircuts, biceps, I'm talking to you. You're going to try to take your best shot, try to dunk me. To which he shoots at the dunk thing with his futuristic arm cannon, which of course dunks Stan, which everybody cheers.
It's pretty great.
It is pretty great.
I gotta say, calling somebody hair. That's another one of my favorite Scanton lines. Like, hey, I'm talking to you, haircut.
Yeah. We cut to the twins eating snow cones, hanging with Waddles, and Mabel says, so I guess we never found out who was causing all those time anomalies that Blendin was looking for. And Dipper's like, Mabel, I think that was us. And he's like, oh, my brain hurts. It's like, and Dipper's like, am I going to have to deal with this all summer? He cuts to Wendy and Robbie, like, sharing a caramel apple of some kind. And to which Waddles is being sent by Mabel to go get that caramel apple. And he chases Robbie away.
Earlier in the episode, Mabel was feeding caramel apple to Waddles.
Yeah, that's true. He knocks over a pot of just hot water for some reason that's just sitting there, and it shrinks his already tight pants to a painful level, causing him to just fall over and everybody to laugh at him. Even Stan's laughing while he's still underwater, which is not great.
Yeah, kind of chokes.
He kind of jokes, but Dipper cuts on the famous line of "That'll do, pig." That'll do. Yeah. The final scene in the credits is Time Baby admonishing Blendin about all the time anomalies that got created in his presence, and he's like, "Come on, Time Baby, have mercy." He's like, "You're gonna go clean up all those time anomalies." And so we get like a cut of Blendin going around, picking up calculators, picking up shoes, whole thing. It's real good. I like it.
Destination paradoxes.
Yep. Schmebulop comes back. It's pretty great. And that's the end of the episode. That's it.
Cryptogram is, I believe, not H.G. Wells approved.
Yeah, that is. It's a MGL S.T.Duv Zriv, which is not H.G. Wells approved. It's a reference, of course, to H.G. Wells' famous book, The Time Machine.
The first story involving some form of time travel, like the first, like my modern, time travel fiction, The Machine. I think A Connecticut Yankee in King Arthur's Court predates The Time Machine, the Mark Twain story, and I think that's from the 1800s. I might be wrong.
I don't know. Let's take a look. The Time Machine was written in 1895. A kid in King Arthur's Court. Amazon Books. All I can find out is about the
It's A Connecticut Yankee is the original novel.
The movie. Oh, what?
The original novel is A Connecticut Yankee in King Arthur's Court. it's a weird story. Like he goes back, like this guy goes back in time.
1931.
He's like from the Civil War era.
No, I'm sorry.
And,
Originally published in 1889, so it does predate it by a couple of years.
All right, fair enough. Really like I have a friend who really loves time travel stories. He only likes ones that are that make sense and are internally consistent. He as much as he loves good time travel stories, he hates bad time travel stories, and it's pretty funny. But this is actually a pretty good time travel story. It's pretty off with the rules, and even though it ends in a predestination paradox, like it's in the service of like gags and story more than it's about the time travel itself. You know.
Yeah. Let's see.
Do you have any specific opinions on this episode?
I like it a whole lot.
It's good. I know I'm repeating myself, but there's not really bad episodes of Gravity Falls. They're all pretty good. Even if it's one that doesn't really tickle your fancy specifically, no, it's still a good episode. Like this episode is really fun. The good gags. Waddles is great, and Waddles and Mabel interacting is always a lot of fun.
Just some continuity stuff. When Blendin's doing his camouflage suit, we see a picture of dinosaurs stuck in tree sap, the arcade from an arcade and Scuttlebutt Island, which are all references to not only the one episode that we did see, The Legend of the Gobblewalker, but 2 episodes that have yet to happen, which is pretty cool.
Let's see. Bill Cipher is a character that will become important later. Is actually on the back of the playing cards that get disturbed in the twins' first time travel.
Oh, I didn't notice that. Neat.
Let's see. Before we go into voice actor trivia, hey Lilith.
Yeah.
Now I know you track this better than I do. I need you to tell me which scene in this episode has Blendin Blandin in it.
Lots of them.
Been saving that.
This episode is a reference to the novel The Time Traveler's Wife.
Let's see. Ready for voice actors?
Go for it. Hit me.
Okay, so Blendin Blandin is voiced by someone who our audience might know about, Justin Roiland, who has created a few different, who's worked on a lot of different shows, famous for being one of the co-creators of Rick and Morty, and the voice of Morty.
I find this unacceptable because he's also the voice
of Lemon Grab.
Of Lemon Grab. Yep. I wasn't gonna do the whole thing.
He has worked on a lot of different shows. A Robot Chicken, Star Wars: The Forces of Evil, different things. Let's see. Speaking of Rick and Morty, Rick and Morty was kind of just starting, while Gravity Falls was like production.
Mm-hmm.
There's actually a few cross references back and forth in the 2 shows. Like most famously, a mug that disappears in an episode of season 2 reappears in an episode of Rick and Morty.
Yeah.
I think Justin Roiland does a few other incidental voices
for Gravity Falls. Yeah, he did like the Mattress King, which is like not important.
The 2 Time Patrol agents, Wolf and Dungren, are voiced by Dave Wittenberg, who also did Time Baby. He's done a lot of things, a lot of voice acting. Chris Kakashi in the Naruto dub.
Nice.
And the other one is voiced by Diedrich Bader, who was famously is Batman. He was Batman for Batman the Brave and the Bold. He's also Batman on Harley Quinn.
Oh, is he?
He's the same Batman. And if you are a little bit older, if you've ever watched the Drew Carey Show, it was awesome. Drew Carey Show is pretty good. I don't know how well it holds up. I haven't watched an episode in like...
I haven't watched an episode of the Drew Carey Show since I was like 7, 8, whenever it was still on.
I probably haven't seen an episode of the Drew Carey Show in good 15 years, if not longer.
The only episodes that the only thing about the Drew Carey Show that I remember is that it had Drew Carey. It had a character named Mimi that they made fun of for being fat and putting on too much makeup. And in one episode, Drew's girlfriend breaks up with him because she realizes that she's gained weight since dating Drew. So I don't think it holds up that well.
The show has a lot of weird issues with like weight, because like Drew and Mimi were both overweight, but they both made fun of each other for being overweight.
Yeah. Really weird. But I think that's it. I think that's it for this episode.
Yeah. Another good, solid episode. It is up to the standards of quality that you'd expect from the series.
Absolutely.
It sounds like faint praise, but you have to understand, it's a very good series.
Very good. Very good. So, hey Doc, where can people find you online if they want to talk to you about, this or anything else?
I am on Twitter way too much. I'm at Dr. C Monster. That is at DRC Monster. Come and see me for the still ongoing protests, and also posting recipes.
You can find me, as always, on Twitter at DatFirePrincess, spelled D-A-T. You can find me on the numerous things I do online, from podcasts to YouTube to, well, not really doing TikTok too much right now, but we'll see how that goes. Yeah, talk to me about stuff. I am Nerd Supreme. And yeah, I don't have anything else to plug. So, until...
They can also talk to me.
Oh, yeah.
To me. I am not a real doctor, but I am a real sea monster. And if you do like what we do here, we do have one other podcast where we talk about Studio Trigger.
Yeah.
We've gone through the early catalog of it, and we're about 5 episodes into The Kill, which is a really good anime. It's a little bit horny on main, a little bit, but it's got great action, great characters, great humor. If you've never seen if you've never seen the series, might try out an episode of our podcast. If not, if you have seen it, then you can kind of rewatch with us. We usually do one episode a week.
Absolutely. All right. So, until next time, remember,
reality is an illusion. The universe is a hologram. Bye, Gold. Bye.
Bye.